Earlier you talked about the ability to reconstruct brain using artificial intelligence, using hologram.
Yep.
To kind of put a face to somebody.
Yeah.
What would it look like if you got a project where somebody says, I'm going to give you the money to do that and reconstruct Jesus' brain?
Right.
And then what are the legal implications when the Catholics and the Protestants and the Pentecostals and the Jehovah's Witnesses all come together to ask Jesus a question?
Yeah. You know, one of the great thrills I have in my life is to get to truth. We live in a day and age now with all the information available. I don't have to debate anymore. I don't have to come up with a theory called apologetics. I can simply go after the truth. But it's going to take me a little time to search out truth. But when I can find truth, it will liberate a lot of people. Now, at Oral Roberts University, we in fact just constructed in virtual reality and artificial intelligence the upper room experience. And that means that people can walk into an experience that existed over 2,000 years ago and replicate it and feel like it's theirs. And I've got some students on video after they went through it, and they're crying. Why are they crying? Well, they just visualized truth as they never saw it before. You see, in a linear world, when we read text, we only see what our retinas, which are a mirror of what we're reading, processes. And sometimes it's not till years later that your brain actually catches up with what you read. But when you live in a day and age of artificial intelligence and augmented and virtual reality, your mind's eye kicks into gear and truth comes out much quicker. And that's my ultimate goal, really. You know, I'm devastated some days at the primitive nature of human beings. Crushed, but we see it across the world. It's famines yet. There's war going on. And why? Well, it's because we haven't helped them see truth. And when we can use technology to help people see truth, I feel like I have did a great deed. But multiply that times the billions of examples of lack of truth. And so I believe Jesus himself was one of the most understood people of all time. In fact, there's 8 rival religions left in the world, still rivaling against one another. They don't even know what they're rivaling against. But they all come to some common conclusions. But what if we could just shed enough light through this light called the fiber optic backbone of the internet and liberate people from their point of view? In fact, one of my personal goals in life is to help bring things down to one possible belief system, which is called the truth. You know, one of the joys I also get when I get revelation, when I get understanding that other people may not have, I get to say things like this. You know, there's no such thing as right or wrong. And a lot of people who would be what we would call Bible Belt people or religious people hate that saying because they're still debating right and wrong all the time. But it's true. There is no right or wrong. Truth will never argue with right or wrong because it's the absolute truth. And so the more truth we find, the less debating that goes on, the less hatred that exists. And I see technology outpacing all the bad stuff that it could be doing in bringing truth to the ears, to the eyes, and to the hands and feet of people around the world. And that's a privilege, but it's a deep honor and responsibility at the same time.